Hello, Nephonimes! Are you ready for story time? Okay. This is the story of when Khaled and I went to Ecuador. A long time ago, Khaled and I traveled to a tiny little town in Ecuador called Zamora. Zamora was on the very edge of the jungle. Some people call it the eyebrow of the jungle. And when we got to Zamora, some people told us that we could go into the deep jungle and rent a cabin for only $3 every night. So we decided we wanted to do that. We packed up all our stuff and we got someone to drive us to the cabins. And when we arrived, it was even more beautiful than we could imagine. There were huge waterfalls and all sorts of jungle animals. So we put all of our stuff in the cabin and we went to sleep. And when we woke up in the morning, we looked at what we had. And all we had was some bread, some peanut butter, and some beans. But we didn't have any fruit. And we wanted to stay in our beautiful little cabin for one whole week. So we decided we needed to go back to the town so that we could go to the fruit market and buy enough fruit for one whole week. We got our empty backpacks on and we put on our shoes and we started walking out of the jungle back to the road that would take us to town. And as we walked, we saw blue morpho butterflies everywhere. That's a kind of butterfly as big as your head. And it was so sparkly and blue and it could change colors as it flapped. We also saw another kind of butterfly that was a purple butterfly. It was kind of a lavender purple butterfly. And it was also as big as your head. And every time that butterfly flapped, it looked like it disappeared for just a second. And then you would see its purple wings again. We also saw parrots that were orange and red and yellow and green, and a really silly bird that was bright orange, and it had the most silly little doodle on the top of its head that would bobble around when it's flying. We started walking down the path towards the road that would take us to town. And we crossed a river, and we passed by a waterfall, and then we made it up to the road. When we got to the road, we realized it was so muddy. And our feet were getting stuck in the mud every step we took. So, as we saw a truck far away, we started waving and running and yelling and saying, hello, can you take us to town, please? We can't walk through all this mud. And the person driving the truck was the park ranger for the cabin that we were staying at. And he said, no problem. Get in the truck, I'll take you to town, and you can go get your fruit. And so we climbed into the back of the truck, and when we got into the back of the truck, we noticed there was an animal crate in the back of the pickup truck that was like a cat carrier. A small container so that it keeps an animal safe and can lock. And we peered close to it, hoping that maybe we would see a kitty cat or a puppy inside. But when we peered around the corner and looked into the crate, we saw a sloth! And the sloth had a little pink nose, and it was so cute. And I had never seen a sloth before in my whole life. And I put my finger very close to it, and the sloth decided it wanted to bite me. And it opened its slothy mouth, and so slowly it went to my finger. But just before it chomped down, I pulled my finger away. And even if it had chomped, this sloth had no teeth except two right here. One here, one here. And the rest was like a baby, just gums. And we said to the park ranger, oh, this sloth is so cute. Why do you have it in your truck? And he told us that in Ecuador, they have a problem of people trying to get their work done, but a sloth will come to their yard and be in the tree, and the person is trying to mow their grass or chop vegetables to make their dinner, and they look in the tree, and the sloth is so cute, and they can't get any of their work done. And the sloth is supposed to live in the jungle, not at people's houses. And so they call the park ranger and they say, hello, can you come get this sloth for me and bring it back to the jungle? And the park ranger says, no problem. So that's what the park ranger was doing. He went to somebody's house and picked the sloth up out of the tree and very gently put it in this box to take it back to the jungle, which is where its home is. And we said, wow, that's a really important job, park ranger. Thank you for doing that. And thank you so much for the ride to town. And then we jumped out of the truck and we went to the fruit market to buy our fruit. That's the end. Goodbye, Nevonimis. We love you. We miss you.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for tuning in for story time. See you next time.